And it starts off by saying a closer look at Fox News reporting reveals that the narrative expounded by Trump, I'm not going to say president because he's not worthy to be called president, let alone a human being. Trump, that Baltimore is rat and rodent infested. And wait a minute, hold on. Why would you text me right now? Sorry about that, you guys. I just received a text, but moving on. By people from outside of the Baltimore using the city as their dumping grounds. And we're just going to take a look at this video really quick.
This is Taya Graham reporting for The Real News Network in Baltimore City, Maryland. Fox News attacked the city of Baltimore with an oversimplified narrative of dysfunction, rats, and trash. But we took a closer look at their reporting, and what we found speaks volumes about why America's most watched network distorts the truth. This is a video obtained by The Real News that Fox News and their contributors don't want you to see. According to the Baltimore Department of Housing and Community Development, it shows residents from the surrounding county caught on camera illegally dumping a boat in the city. It's just one example of a much larger problem. People coming from outside jurisdictions to unload trash and waste in defiance of the law.
We do have that, and we've caught people in the past that have illegally dumped from other jurisdictions in the surrounding area.
It's an issue that consumes resources and time for Councilman Christopher Burnett, whose district lies on the city-county line.
I spend a lot of time doing it. It can be the bane of my existence from time to time. It's such a pervasive issue in Baltimore, especially in West Baltimore. I've had to dedicate 2 days a week to doing site visits, neighborhood walks, alley walks. Sometimes if I don't have a neighborhood that's coming with me, we go out to just circulate through hot spots.
But also contradicts the narrative gleaned from this brief video clip of trash used by both Fox News and Donald Trump to label Baltimore as a failed city. The president used the footage, retweeting the images to slam Baltimore as dysfunctional. But like many of Trump's rhetorical attacks and much of the material that fuels Fox News, it overlooks and ignores the complex realities and contradictions this simplistic narrative elicits, and in fact, deliberately obscures how the racism touted by Trump and his policies of economic inequality make crumbling cities possible. I'm standing on an imaginary line that has real-life consequences. This is where Baltimore City ends and Baltimore County, home of Kimberly Klacik, begins. Klacik, a Fox News contributor who lives in Baltimore County, used these images to argue Baltimore City is a mess, and it's our fault because we elected the wrong leaders. But her distinction ignores a more complex and racially fraught relationship. That's because Baltimore is one of only 3 cities in the country that is not connected to the surrounding county, a break that isolated the city economically and extended Baltimore's historic use of segregation laws.
So finally, by constitutional convention, in 1851, the state put the city and the county in 2 different judicial districts, and that was what brought about the separation. So Baltimore, I think one other city, St. Louis, is in the same position, is a freestanding city, which has some real disadvantages because it means the county, where there are a lot of prosperous communities, has no responsibility for the city, no direct responsibility, and the city has no access to county resources.
A break that isolated the city economically and extended Baltimore's historic use of segregation laws. In fact, it was white flight and the wealth that followed that left Baltimore with failing infrastructure and underfunded schools. And it was the evolution of racist police strategies like zero tolerance, which the Department of Justice found was unconstitutional, which further aggravated the city's social ills.
And every month, it's 40, 50 eviction orders on people's doors, and everybody around here work.
But even in Klacik's county, Trump officials are making lives more difficult for the residents by profiting off it. This is one of nearly a dozen apartment complexes owned by Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. In 2017, tenants filed a class action lawsuit alleging his company was using unpaid late fees to start evictions and allowing unsanitary conditions to fester.
Like most people working and trying to budget their money. Most people working 2 jobs nowadays to survive. And you hitting somebody with an $80 late fee, that could be coming out. That's taking food from my kids' mouth.
We reached out to Klacik on Twitter for comment. In summary, she responded that Baltimore City is poorly managed and that reporters are behind the ball on these issues. For now, city officials say they will continue to spend resources battling the flow of trash from outsiders and hoping that their efforts will not be in vain.
You know, I imagine they drive into a place that's pretty clean and pretty safe after they're done dumping in our communities. And that it's problematic, and like I said, the narrative that we've seen in the national media over the last few weeks isn't fair.
This is Taya Graham and Stephen Janis reporting for the Real News Network in Baltimore City, Maryland.
Okay, we just watched that, and yeah. It's crazy. The story transcript, this is the transcript of basically what you saw in the video. It's done by Tara Graham. There's a real issue for people, like I've heard this for years, me being a resident of Baltimore and living in Baltimore. You know, people, you know, will often say, you know, I boarded up houses and, you know what I'm saying, it's dirty and this, that, and the third. Well, this is why, you know, I mean, it's a lot of things, and it has to do with politics, it has to do with jurisdiction, it has to do with city-county lines. This is something that's not new. We've always known about it. Always, you know, knew that, you know, it was illegal dumping and this, that, and the third. Like just as early as 2 weeks ago, they had a large dump of dead crabs on the side of a road. You know, things like that. And it all goes back stemming from, like Tara Graham said, segregation and zero tolerance and things of that nature. If you're not familiar with zero tolerance, then I would suggest that you look up on it and read it for yourself, what it was about. They ruled to be unconstitutional, and things of that nature. So, again, it's just showing that basically Fox News and Trump and the quote unquote, as I call them, house niggas, Kimberly, working to bring about the destruction and the demise of your own fucking people. And anyone that opposes Trump will be labeled. Your city is not you know, safe as far as that's concerned. To be honest with you, at any time they could do a story on your city and say the same things about your city and things of that nature. So just wanted to, you know, do this video just as a response, and these are the stories that's not mainstream. I really don't try to do mainstream stories like that because, for one, everybody does them. Like, if you go up and down your timeline feed, you will see the same story like 20 times. And I always try to get stories and do stories that people haven't heard, that people don't know about, and that people need to be filled in on. If you do not care, then you do not have to watch any of my videos that I do. But I'm going to do what I want to do, you know, on my platform. So that's just that. And with that being said, I am Madam 81. I do appreciate and love any and all the responses, good, negative, or otherwise, um, and things of that nature. Please drop down in the comments. Tell me what you think. If you have had anything like this happen in your city, let me know. Tell me about it, or whatnot. But until then, guys, I will talk to you later.